welcome back to the Formula E Zone show. Sunday has finished, the sun is setting. We have a new world champion in Nyck De Vries. Once again, I'm joined with Tobias Bluhm. How are you, Tobias? Busy day.
Busy day. I'm exhausted. I'm knackered. I had 3 hours sleep last night and covered the entire day since 6 a.m. in the morning. I am ready for bed.
I'm ready for bed too. I had a little bit more sleep than you. I had 5. So I win on that one.
Fair enough.
But before we talk about Nyck De Vries, I just want to talk a special mention to Norman Nato, because obviously we were talking about him yesterday. We heard from him yesterday. We unfortunately didn't get a chance to catch him today. But man, we were talking about him not having a drive, and he goes away and he wins. And he doesn't just win. He dominates. He built a 5-second gap, lost it to the safety car, and then built it up again. Just talk me through how you felt Nato's race was today.
Yeah, really impressive. I was talking about that yesterday. He's sort of matured recently. And those kinds of performances they've been coming ever since, I think, Puebla. He told me Puebla was the race where it clicked for him, and then the results didn't really come, but he felt confident in himself and in his car, and, well, we saw the result of that confidence today. Dominant performance, pretty much a perfect day, perfect race for him.
It was a perfect day for him. Let's talk Nyck De Vries then, because it just fell his way today, didn't it? The gods, the Formula E gods were with him. Mitch Evans going out at the start, Eduardo Mortara also going out, and then Jake Dennis going out. It just fell for him today.
It did, yeah. I mean, he wouldn't have needed them to retire. He was a championship leader going into the race. But it certainly helped and maybe made things a bit more calm for him. That said, I mean, how dramatic was that? We're seeing the Venturi tub, I think, being transported here through the paddock now. Although, to be fair, I don't know if that's the Venturi tub.
I saw the crash damage from Mortara. It was significant. It was, the whole front was gone, the suspension was gone, like everything was just gone. Like it was like a whole new rebuild.
And that was incredibly dramatic, wasn't it? 2 championship contenders out before we even get to the first corner. Ridiculously, bye-bye. Ridiculously, that's Sam Smith leading there. We're still working. Sam, what are you doing? I'm joking. So Hollywood couldn't have written a better story.
I tweeted that.
Yeah, because it was just unbelievably unbelievable what happened today.
And then just before we pass over to the Mercedes boys, just a quick one on Stoffel Vandoorne. Obviously, pole didn't quite work out for him in the race, but I felt like an unlucky man. I felt like even though he was happy for Nick, he felt like that should have been him.
Yeah, but it all came down to his performance yesterday. He was really good today, fighting for the lead, fighting for really good points, but he lost the championship yesterday. It wasn't a thing that he could have changed today. He lost the championship yesterday.
With that qualifying performance. Right, let's hear it from Nyck De Vries and Stoffel Vandoorne.
It has been a very up and down season, and everyone was in the same boat, and everyone had their ups and downs, and that's why it came to the very last moment. And I just feel, I'm aware that we were very fortunate today, given everything that happened. So I'm just very grateful that, the lottery did land on us, and ultimately, that's what counts. No one will be able to take that away from me, but I'm humble, and I understand and respect that we were fortunate today.
Talk me through your race, because obviously I don't think there was much communication. There never seems to be much communication in terms of where other people are in a championship decider. But with Evans, Mortara, and Dennis, obviously with those 3 out of the race, did you know that they were out of the race? Because you were then, you pulled off some quite aggressive moves.
I did not know, and I was in it to do the best race we could, and that's how we raced. And I think we were extremely competitive. We drove an incredible race, but I was disappointed with the driving standards from everyone, because it was, a joke. I felt like a target on track to stay on track, because we still needed the P8 for the team championship. So I was disappointed, and that was my first reaction. But later, everything sinked in, and of course, I'm very grateful that we got chosen to win this lottery.
Yeah, and then finally from me, just the mindset thing. When, obviously, after Sims and you were pushed out wide, what was going through your mind at that point? And was it just see at home at that point?
I just accepted my loss, and I wanted to keep it clean from that point onwards. But I wasn't aware of the team championship. I mean, I knew kind of, but not exactly. So I was asking what was required, and then I had to stay with Jeff. At least that's what I thought. But obviously, Jeff hit me, and then not exactly on purpose because he obviously had someone hitting him from behind, and then Bird came through, and I thought that I had to make it up in the last last half of the lap. But the team quickly said hold off and bring it home, so that's what I did.
I lacked a little bit of pace at the start of the race, especially. This was, for me, the kind of the struggle point, let's say, where I didn't have the pace when it counted, and I couldn't make the gap to the people behind when I needed to make it. So I think that's where I kind of lost it. Then I dropped back a couple of positions from other people on attack mode and got dragged back a little bit out of it. So after the safety car, I had one attack left, and then I had to make my way through. So in the end, it was. I think it was still a good result. We kind of more or less maximized what we could have, and I'm happy to bring it home for the team.
Would you say the safety car then just came out at the wrong time for you?
I don't know if it came out at the wrong time. It's hard to judge. For sure, it spiced up a lot of things, and maybe it wasn't ideal, but that's part of racing, and it's part of the business. So I'm sure we'll get back better next time.
And then for you on a personal note, obviously it's been an up and down season for you. You could have had 4 poles. You had that one that was taken away from you. The potential in London to win that race. Do you feel like, I know your teammate and you must be happy for your teammate, but do you feel like that should have been you?
Well, I'm happy for Nick. He definitely deserves it, but I feel like I lost my chance in London, really missing out on that victory that kind of dragged me out of the championship. Like you said, I've been on pole 4 times. Officially only 3 times because of that one in Valencia being taken away. But I think I've been the reference quite often this season, and that is something positive that I have to take away from it. It's been not an easy one for me. I think I had a lot of the share of bad luck, let's say, this season. A lot of big points been taken away, but that's unfortunately that's part of this championship, and we'll try again next year.
There were some strong words in that interview actually from De Vries about Sims and the aggressiveness, and he's saying he was being a bit of a target out there, and it did look like normal Formula E racing, standard Formula E racing that we've seen. But let's just talk quickly about the Sims move because we're going to get his thoughts on it in a moment. So De Vries quite aggressively uses fan boost, tries to pass Sims going into turn 1. Sims then does the switch back, tries to go down the inside. De Vries sort of goes wide, is pushed out wide, and then the Porsche comes through, and Sims goes through, and that creates that 3 wide situation that we had. Just talk me through, what did you think about the move?
It was typical Formula E, to be honest. I didn't feel like that was particularly unfair on anyone in that situation. It was a racing incident. Of course, De Vries will be complaining, and he complained about it because this was the championship on the line for him, at least. Sims wasn't in the title hunt any longer, and he just wanted to have his position. For De Vries, on the other hand, there was a lot of plenty of points attached to that position that he needed for his championship. So I see where Nick is coming from, but to me that was just good old Formula E racing.
Good old Formula E racing. Let's hear what Sims had to say about the incident.
He outbraked himself into turn 2. Simple as that. I was on the outside of him, and I got the cutback. I thought it was just robust, hard racing. As we all experience in Formula E, I don't think I was. At no point did I hit somebody. At no point did I have contact. No, I thought it was just hard racing, and I totally appreciate he's got his championship to think about, and he would love me to just wave him past. But at the end of the day, I've got my race to fight for, and I'm proud of the race I had.
And overall, for your season, it was a good first season for you, and something to build on, obviously, going into next year with Mahindra.
I wouldn't quite class it as good. It was fair, good at times, but overall we had too many disappointing weekends. Yeah, we learned quite a lot today actually. With it being the last race, we tried some things in practice that actually seemed to work and carry through to qualifying pace. So hopefully that can give us some direction, and we'll see what happens next year.
Right. I still can't believe though about the situation that we had with Mitch Evans and Eduardo Mortara, and then Jake Dennis, right? So then Jake Dennis, we're coming down. We're thinking now it's a fight between De Vries and Dennis, and then literally a lap after the safety car restart, a technical problem happens for Dennis. The rears lock up, and he slams into the wall, and all of a sudden, his title challenge is over.
Yeah, and the team had no idea initially what caused that incident. He reported, well, my rear axle just seized and I had no chance of stopping the thing. Yeah, it must be devastating for him. And we saw the pictures on television, how devastated he was about retiring from the car. And then in those moments you realize how much this really means to drivers. A couple of years ago, I was still surprised by how serious drivers take Formula E, because from the outside it almost always sounded like, well, it's a championship where you are to have fun. Not the case with Jake Dennis. You saw in the pictures that he isn't here for fun. He's here to win the championship, and when you lose out on the championship by something that's that's out of your control, I mean, I would be devastated as well.
Yeah, like Jack Nicholls in commentary was like, oh, maybe because it was a technical problem, it's easier to deal with, you know, it wasn't your fault at the end of the day. But Jake was like, actually, I would have preferred if it was my fault, because then I'd be like, well, I was the donut today, right? But because it was out of his control, it feels worse. It feels like he didn't do anything wrong. The chance was taken away from him.
Yep, absolutely agree. Yeah.
Right, so let's hear from Jake Dennis.
It's been a good season. We finished third in the world title, so I can be pleased with that. But obviously, the position we were in entering after the red flag was very good. And for it to be taken away from us the way it was is disappointing.
Yeah, talk me through that moment, because you're saying it was a mechanical fault. Does it hurt more that it was a mechanical fault than it was your own fault?
Completely. When it's out of your control and you have no power over the situation, you can just sit there as a passenger and just wait until to hit the wall, and that's exactly what happened. If I just drove into the back of Seb and crashed out by myself, I'd move on from it pretty quickly, because I could just say I'm an idiot. But when it's out of your control, it hurts.
There's one man we have to talk about today, probably the star of the day, and that was Tom Blomqvist. That lap time in qualifying to get that Neo 333. He's been struggling all season, let's be honest. They've had a good odd moment here and there, but overall they've struggled immensely. To get that result on the last day, what a motivation really going into next season.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I wouldn't say he's my driver of the day, but he did really, really well in that Neo car. It's usually a thing for Neo and Dragon as well. Everyone knows they don't have the best car, and you need decent qualifying results, and Tom showed what you can do by achieving good qualifying results in Formula E. And then he fought hard against the likes of Sam Bird, for example, against all the big boys, and he did really well. He's one of the big boys as well, of course. I'm always really keen to see how he would do in a more competitive car in Formula E, because he's doing really, really well in WEC. Where his teammates was with Stoffel Vandoorne, for example, one of the drivers he fought today. He did well in this race, and has been rewarded with points, and deservedly so.
Right, let's hear what Tom Blomqvist had to say.
We didn't have many expectations going into that quali, because I had a torrid, FP1 and FP2. I was struggling a lot with the car and not finding, the right braking points, and really struggling with the braking. And we made a few little tweaks for quali, and I said to myself, fuck it, just balls to the wall, and it's either going to be good or terrible. And luckily, it ended up on the right side of that, because it could have gone wrong. But I had nothing to lose, and the team was quite down, and after obviously practices and yesterday, and we were not competitive. But that lap really was nice to hear. Once I crossed the line, they opened the radio and I could hear the clapping. So that was a cool sensation to feel when you're in the car, because you put some smiles on a few people's faces, because there's a lot of team members, right? And to boost a bit of morale is always nice.
Yeah, and then talk me through your race, because you were in the points for a lot of that. Obviously, you fell out towards the end, but you managed to get that final place for 10th. Just what does that mean for you, the team, and then just how did you think your race went in general?
I think the race went as good as we probably could have hoped for, to be honest. We knew that we didn't have the pace of the others, but if things kind of fell in our way, and I did a decent job and attacked and defended at the right time, we got our attack modes in the right way. We know, there's maybe a possibility that we could nick a point or two. I dropped out of it on the last lap, and then, with, quite a few laps to go, but thankfully, I saw it all kicking off ahead of me, and I knew that if I could, sneak the right opportunity here, I could get lucky and pick up a point. And, for me, I was obviously fortunate there to be in the right spot there just to get Jev on that last lap. So honestly, really, really happy for the guys. To end the season like this with a Super Bowl and a point scoring is good morale for everyone, and also for myself, because it's been I've had good pace in quali, and we know as an out team we've struggled a bit more. Well, we struggled in the race as well, but today to get a point was really nice for everyone.
Another man I want to talk about, rookie at Envision Virgin Racing, Nick Cassidy. Obviously, the result he was not looking for, but to be in title contention going into this weekend for a rookie, we'll talk about how impressed we were with Jake Dennis. I suppose we've got to talk about how impressed we have been with Nick Cassidy.
And generally, all the rookies this year, they've been amazing. Nick Cassidy, he joined from Japan, so it was a complete reconfiguration of his private life as well. He needed to find a new supermarket and everything in the UK. So that puts a lot of pressure on yourself privately. And then on track, of course, it's a completely new environment. But he proved time and again that he is such a quick driver. Scored 2 pole positions this year, 2 podiums. So he did really, really well this season, I think, and deserves a spot on the grid, just like so many others do, next year.
Yeah, he thought his season was a little bit marish. Felt he was consistent, but he was like, I could have done better. I had so much potential, but I didn't show it as often as I could have, he felt.
But I think maybe that feeling comes from watching his teammate, because Robin had a cracker of a season as well. I think that was Robin's best season in Formula E so far, and if you are in Nick's position, you of course have only Robin Frijns to compare yourself to. And if Robin Frijns is in his best form he's ever been in Formula E, pretty much, it's easier to be harsh on yourself. I don't think, Nick, you shouldn't be too harsh on yourself. You did really well this season.
Let's hear what you had to say then.
For me, honestly, I'm frustrated from this year. I feel I've shown so much potential. I feel like I've shown great pace, and that we could have easily had a lot more results. So although it's been great, and I'm really proud of the guys and the car and everyone at Envision Virgin Racing, I'm annoyed and I'm frustrated because I think we could have easily had more.
But it's one of those up and down seasons though, isn't it, where luck has to be on your side. And how hard is it, obviously, to keep that momentum up? Because you had good results, from Rome. I know Rome didn't go your way in the race, but that was astonishing on that day. But it's such an up and down season. How do you go into next season and build on that consistency and make sure you're more consistent going into next year?
What's annoying is I actually feel like I've been consistent. I think we need to find a better working window for our package, but also something that's I'm more comfortable with more often, because when we're fast, we're really fast, and when we're off, we're actually really far off. But yeah, it's that, not necessarily communication, because that's been great. Our understanding's been great, but testing time and experience to be able to find that window more often, which will lead to consistent results.
Well, that's pretty much it, Tobias. But I suppose we couldn't leave this season and this show without talking about Audi and BMW. Obviously, a great day for Audi yesterday. BMW have had a good 2 days, really, with Jake Dennis. I know it was so close. The potential was there for a BMW to win the championship for the drivers. How much are we going to miss those two manufacturers?
I think we are going to miss them. I mean, BMW will still be around in Formula E as the powertrain supplier for Andretti. But they've been mainstays, is that the word in English, of Formula E for such a long time. Audi's been around since season 1. BMW has pretty much also been around since season 1, with them being the supplier of the safety cars, medical cars, official championship vehicles generally. And I am gonna miss them, because also in sporting terms, they delivered so many incredible, memorable moments for us. Both good and bad. Here in Berlin 2018, for example, Audi's 1-2, Grand Slam by Daniel Abt, pole position, fastest lap. Literally the perfect day for them. I always remember sitting in Marrakesh in the media center when the two BMWs collided in season 5. That might not be one of their favorite moments looking back, but
But it was a big moment in Formula E.
it was, and a memorable one. And yeah, I'm gonna miss them, of course. And now that I have the opportunity, thank you for all the work you did with us, both Audi and BMW. And it was a pleasure working with you. And I'm sure we will meet again at some point in the small world of motorsports.
Indeed. Right. I think that's pretty much it, Tobias. Thank you so much for being with me this weekend and doing these. I've really appreciated it.
Thank you for having me. I mean, it's been such an honor. And yeah, thank you.
It's been good to see you again.
It's been really good to
It's
see
been really
you
good.
as well.
And hopefully we'll see you again soon in the season 8. Now, can you believe 8 seasons we've been doing this?
I mean,
8 seasons. Not 8
ridiculous.
seasons we've been doing this, but 8 seasons we've been covering this sport.
Yeah, ridiculous.
He was
We're
smaller
getting
than-
old.
He was smaller than me when I first met him. How is life, right? How is life? Right, we'll see you soon for season 8. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.